Hello, my name is Adolfo, and this is Life of Adolfo. I'm all talk of working abroad. And when I say working abroad, it's going to the United States. I am from the United States, and I live in the Philippines. So I'm basically saying, trying to go to a country that pays a lot more, and you want to be successful, or you want to make money to go back to your hometown. And I'm going to be as realistic as I can, what to expect. And I've seen other YouTubers talk about it, the up tempo. The up tempo in a country like the United States, it far exceeds the one in the Philippines. That also means that you as a worker are going to be on that up tempo pace. And I've been to other countries, not only the Philippines, and I encountered this girl, this lady in Colombia, Uber driver. She lived in the United States, Florida to be precisely. She got her degree from the university. She worked in the United States, and she decided to go back to her home country and work, even though she could stay in the United States. I believe one of her parents, maybe a citizen or whatever the case might be, she could stay in the United States. And she told me, in the United States, there's no life. Like I said, she studied for a degree and she's an Uber driver. For people in the Philippines that don't know what an Uber driver is, it's a Move It or a Grab driver. Basically a taxi, but on an app. She said the up-tempo, the no life, constantly working. She'd rather be in Colombia, be the Uber driver, do her own work schedule, and decide when to work basically, and have a slow pace. I also encountered this at my house. My ex, her sister, went to the United States on a working visa. She used to fry chicken. Like I said, up tempo, not like maybe over here, or maybe because she was not used to that type of job. She decided to go back to Mexico. She decided to use her degree in Mexico. And she said, I'd rather work as a supervisor than work basically like a subordinate. It's a lot of work, she said. At the same time, what I dislike is that she went back to Mexico and asked for money when she was making that money. Meaning, you rather work for less, but ask for the rest, than work for that same amount and don't ask. Being from the Philippines, you might encounter that. Going to another country and people asking you for money. Same scenario happened to me. But the person that went to that place, she decided to go back, like I mentioned, and ask instead of staying there. And like I said, I've seen this on YouTubers, vloggers, that the up pace, the tempo in the Philippines, it's a lot slower than the United States. I'm talking about the vloggers from America and also other European countries. Number 2, being on time. I have a small business that my wife runs. She controls it, but at the same time, I was the one talking to the individuals installing, meeting, and so on. And majority of the times that I had to meet people and they told me to be in a specific time at a location, I was there 1 hour, 2 hours waiting, the waiting game. If you're going to work in the United States, you need to be punctual. You're not punctual and you're working for a bigger salary. The bigger the salary, the bigger the wage, even if it's 50 cents more per hour, there's always a replacement for you. because there's always someone that is willing to work for that extra 50 cents, meaning that there's a good chance that you will be fired and you're going to get replaced. I used to work as a security guard, and the number one thing that I forgot to say is the United States is good at paper trail. Working in security, I used to work in the post office. Post office is another league. On time is very important. The paper trail means you're late, they talk to you, and they make you fill up a paperwork that you're late. It keeps on accumulating each time that you show up late. That means that when the company feels that they already have someone to replace you, slow season or whatever the case, and they're just waiting for you to be late, they have all that paperwork to back up why they are firing you. And they will fire you. As a matter of fact, in security, they tell you got to train someone. And you're training that person without knowing that that is your replacement and you're getting fired. Being punctual is important. I'll give an example. Here in the Philippines, I had an infection on my leg. I went to the doctor. He looked, he cut it, and he took the pus out. And I told him, what time should I come back and meet you? He said, on so-and-so date. And since you're an American, I have to make sure what time I'm going to be here, because I encountered this in the past and they get mad when I'm not here on time. As I could see, I'm not the only individual from the US that expects people to be on time. If you tell me to be somewhere at a specific time, I might be there 15 minutes early waiting on you. And I expect you to be there at the time that you told me without any excuses. If you're working abroad, make sure you're on time, especially if you have a job, especially if you're moving up on your salary, your wage. If you're asking for a pay raise, you better be on time. Also, be prepared for the up tempo. Now, one thing that I need to say for individuals from the Philippines is that you have leverage compared to other individuals going to the United States. And that leverage is very important. And that is, you speak English. Especially if you speak English, because some individuals in the Philippines, they are intimidating of using the English language, even though they speak it. Having that English language will automatically move you to easier jobs, to a less tempo job. At the same time, you're using that same language here in the Philippines to have a store job, a slower paced job than working on the fields, than working in construction, than working on somewhere that you don't need to speak English because you're on the back counter, you're nowhere to be seen, and somebody's speaking for you. You're going to work harder on those jobs, or there's a good chance that you might work harder than someone that speaks English. So that's the biggest leverage that you have if you're going to a country that speaks English and pays more. And the reason I'm also saying this, I wanted to make this video because of all the times that I have encountered individuals that had to wait. Also, this is the business where my wife runs, and right next to it, it's an office for people that are trying to work abroad. And that's one thing that I wanted to make the video, is because the mindset in another country and the expectation is up-tempo. Like I mentioned, these two individuals, my ex's sister and someone in Colombia that I met as an Uber driver, that decided to go back to their country. I also saw this YouTuber yesterday. I was thinking of this and then I saw the videos and I'm like, whoa, it's something that I was thinking of making. And this lady, and I'll give you her story. She went to the US, I believe for 2 weeks only, and she went back to her country. She went back to her country because of work and the loneliness. And one key thing that I read on the comments is that a vehicle in the United States is not a luxury. Maybe here in the Philippines it's considered more of a luxury, but in the United States it's considered more of a necessity to go out to work. And that's one thing that I was talking to someone, I think it was my wife, because they were fixing my place. And I seen the equipment that they're using and so on. And I was telling her, in the United States, people work, and while they're working, they're building on their tools, on their equipment to use to upgrade and have a better job. At the same time, they're also saving for a truck, because a truck with equipment not only looks nice, but you are moving and having all your equipment ready to go do that job. As you can see, it's not only a luxury, but a necessity to keep on moving up and doing your job. You don't need an expensive vehicle, but you need, and I'm not going to say you need, but it's nice to have so you could get a better job, not only in the bubble that you're able to walk. Because if you don't have a vehicle, you need to look for a job walking distance or bus distance. Having a vehicle, you could go and travel a little bit further and get a job. For example, when I used to work in security in Texas, people used to drive an hour and a half. And when I say an hour and a half on a 60-mile road, it's far. Just to get to a specific job. Meaning that a vehicle is a necessity at that point. It's not only a luxury. I also read on the comments, and they're absolutely right, it's the handouts. You hear this on TV that in the United States, there's a lot of handouts. If you're there on a working visa, you're not going to get those handouts. You're going to work for them. So don't expect to go to the United States and get free things. You're not going to get them. Some individuals might, but with a working visa, you're not. I highly doubt it. And that's all I got. I'm not saying all these things to scare you, but to prepare you. To prepare you what to expect. The up-tempo, being on time, and constantly working. Now, in certain areas, you may not encounter that. I'll give you an example once again. I used to work as a post office worker. The post office worker is up-tempo. For me, I didn't want to do that, even though it was a high-paying job compared to the one that I went to work afterwards. I went from the post office to a security guard, all because I wanted a slow pace, be in my phone. I didn't care about the 10, 15, and after 3-4 years, $20 difference on my hourly wage. I didn't care about the money. That also could mean you'd rather be in your comfort zone and work in an easy job than keep on moving and working for a higher paying job because you're comfortable at a slower pace. As you can see, there's also slower pace, but a little bit faster than in the Philippines. Driving to work, a lot faster. Especially if you're on the freeway, highway, you're going to see the big difference. You're going to see a lot of semis. I encountered this individual from Asia. I'm not sure if it was from Vietnam or from China. And she would take all the back roads to the work. It was a long trip going through all the back roads because she was afraid of the fast pace. She was afraid of going inside the freeway because is going fast when you're trying to get in the freeway. It's not stop and then go. And number 3, the semis. She was afraid of the semis. And that's all I got. Like I said, fast paced, be ready. I just wanted to make this video, not only because I seen it, but also encounter it and to prepare the mindset of someone going to the United States or an up-paced country. Thank you, and thank you for watching.